Hello, everyone. Is my voice audible to all of you? Can I have a quick yes or no in the chat box, please? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Hi, my name is Sneha Khetan, and I am Community Manager at Whizlabs. I welcome you all to this webinar on how to work with Azure Virtual Machines. Today's speaker is with us. He's Jerald Felix, and he is a brilliant speaker. He's a Microsoft certified trainer and a tech enthusiast who likes to explore new technologies and share them with community in the form of live sessions and training, such as today. And he is currently working as an IT analyst at Bosch Global Software Technologies. So thank you so much, Jerald. We are so glad to have you on board for this webinar. Can you please switch on your camera?
Thanks, Nega. Thanks for an introduction about me. And I'm very happy to be here today. And let me shortly briefly explain about me. Before that, let me also share my screen so that everyone can see and explore what I'm really speaking about.
Sure. Before that, let me quickly tell about quick rules about this session that will help our attendees. So as you all can see, there is a chat box and also a Q&A section in the footer of your Zoom screen. So if you have any questions for Jerald during the webinar, please feel free to drop it in the Q&A section so that we can track what all questions are there, and it will help us to answer them better. So Q&A section is where you'll drop all your questions, and there will be an exciting quiz towards the end of this session. So stay tuned for that. We will have some exciting awards for all of you. And yeah, we also have Mayank and Sunil in the panel today, who are a part of the Whizlabs product team. So they will be also answering a couple of questions for you. So whatever questions you put in the Q&A section, they will also be answering them in the Q&A section itself. So I hope you all have a great time today. Thank you for joining. All the best, Jerald. Over to you.
Thanks, Nega. So hello, everyone. Thanks for enrolling in today's session. My name is Jerald Felix, and I have spent decades in the IT industry. I am a MCT, and I am working for Bosch Global Software Technologies as IT analyst, and support global customers. I have made a career out of building and troubleshooting infrastructure solutions, both on-prem and in the cloud. I also connect with external communities and students, share the knowledge whichever I gain, and help people to understand cloud technologies and make their life and make their career into cloud. So this is a short introduction about me. Let me move on to today's agenda. In today's session, I would like to walk you through the overview of cloud, a complete overview, like what is cloud and why we need cloud, things like that. Then I will get into Azure regions and availability zones. Then Azure complete compute service overview. Then Azure virtual machines, where we speak a lot about what are the major things we need to consider when creating or spinning a Azure virtual machine. After that, I will also give you a lab. Show you a lab like how to set up your first VM, Windows VM as well as Linux VM. So, and at the end of this session, we also have a Q&A session. So people who participate in the QA session will get exciting rewards, which will be informed later by Sneha and team. So let me start moving to cloud computing. I hope most of our participants here today heard about cloud computing. So whenever we speak about cloud computing, and whenever a person is speaking about cloud computing, the thing which comes to our mind first is cloud. But actually, cloud computing is not a cloud. There is no cloud. It's just someone else's computer. It means someone is renting their computer and we are using their resources. It is the main concept of cloud computing. So here, if you see, as per the definition, cloud computing is a service model over the internet. It is something like electricity which we get from the government or from a private vendor. So it is same like that. We are we are using the compute services, storage services from public clouds like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, and we are paying for things whichever we using. For example, we are if we are using only VM for a certain period of time, we will be billed for that certain period of time, and we will paying for it. So, as mentioned in this slide, it is the delivery of cloud computing services. It's the delivery of computing services over the internet, which is otherwise known as cloud. These services include server, storage, database, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence, and it's keep on growing each and every day. Cloud computing offers innovation, flexible resources, and economics of scale. So, even though cloud is most important future, and cloud is replacing the on-prem, we also need to know. We also need to understand a small difference between the on-prem and cloud computing. So before cloud came into picture, most of the enterprise spend huge money towards building up their data centers, um, buying storage devices and servers, and it's also cost a lot for them to maintain it. But once the cloud computing came in picture, the cost of uh, buying new uh, buying new servers and storage things have been reduced, and for the it saved a lot for the enterprises. So let me move on to the next slide. Cloud service model. So when we speak about cloud, there are two models we have. One is cloud service model and the other one is cloud deployment model. So let's start with the cloud service model. So cloud service model is simply a category of how we can differentiate the way we utilize the cloud. So here we have three different models. It's common for all the cloud service providers. I mean, like Azure, GCP, AWS. For everyone, it is common. So when it comes to cloud service model, we have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So IaaS, it's like as is something about infrastructure as a service. PaaS is platform as a service, and SaaS is software as a service. So when it comes to IaaS, the most flexible and it is the most flexible cloud service. So they provide you everything you needed. Say for example, a compute service is an example for IaaS. So you configure and manage the hardware for your application. It is like you are buying a new computer for your own use, but instead of buying it in real time, you are selecting the resources whichever you needed on Azure portal and spinning it within a minute. And when it comes to the PaaS, it's completely like a application oriented, and it's a development oriented thing. We can't choose hardware or we can't configure the hardware, but here they will provide you the software whichever needed to develop the application. For example, if I'm going to develop some uh, um, product, instead of buying all the software licenses, I can go ahead and develop it. And when it comes to SaaS, it is a pay as you go pricing model. It is similar to the things which we use in our day-to-day life, like Gmail, and most of us are currently using Microsoft 365 thing. So it is like um, the complete software will be provided to you, and the data, the things whichever you handle inside a software, it's up to you. But you don't worry about creating or development in the software. A good example for SaaS is Microsoft 365. So let me move on to the next slide. Next comes the cloud deployment models. In cloud, we have three different cloud deployment models: public, private, and hybrid cloud. So when we speak about public cloud, Azure, AWS, GCP, these are the people, these are the enterprise which provide uh, public cloud offerings for other community, for example, for companies and the other community. So when it comes to public cloud, they have various number of services like compute, storage, networking, AI, ML, and lot more, and we can use it for a very lesser price. So the good example for public cloud is Microsoft Azure. And when it comes to the private cloud is a place where enterprise, say for example, you're running a company, and you're running a company which involves patient records, or which involves some government related topics, very secure topics. Then you can't host in the document when you sign up the project, they mention that you can't host uh, data, you can't host the data in the public cloud. It need to be kept very secure. So in such scenario, you will go with a private cloud. And the third one is hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is a combination of both private and public cloud. So in an enterprise, they use both um, together for a better product delivery, or better better software delivery. So next comes the regions and zones. Okay, so we are hear this fancy word regions and zones almost every day in our life when it comes to the cloud. Region is something like a geographical area where, so one second. So region is nothing but a geographical area on the planet that contains at least one but potentially multiple data centers that are nearby and network together with a low latency network. So it's an area where you deploy the data centers, but the data centers have dedicated um, dedicated network and dedicated electricity, and it helps us to access the services in a low latency way. It never take, or it never make high demand, or it never take a high time for you to avail the services. So Azure internally assigns and controls the resource within each region to ensure workloads are approximately balanced. So when you deploy a resource in Azure, you will often need to choose the region where you want your resource deployed. So we will uh, we will speak it even more in clarity when it comes to the lab. But for now, you have to understand that region is something about a geographical area where you have your data centers. So as mentioned in the slide, imagine that your application is deployed in a data center in London. What would be the challenges? So if some national disasters or some other disaster happen to the data center, then automatically the whole system will be down and you can't access the applications. So it is the first challenge. And the second challenge is something like the latency. The latency is really very high. The people who are near to the London location, it is okay, but people who are accessing it from Asia, somewhere from North America, it's really very difficult for them to access it uh, immediately. So let's see how to overcome the challenges. So to overcome this challenge, we have a concept called multiple data center. So let's add one more data center in London. What would be the challenges? Slow access for user from one part of the world to solve. But if the data center is crashed, then it's really again a big challenge for us to make people we it's really very difficult to ensure that the application is available all the time. But if entire reason is unavailable, the application goes down. It is something like if one reason get affected, the data will be, the application will run from the other reason, other data center. But if the entire reason is unavailable, you can't access your application and it goes down. So this is the outcome of the multiple data centers. And when it comes to multiple regions, you are hosting your application in a different servers, in a different regions. Say for example, I'm hosting an application in London as well as in India, Mumbai, and somewhere in New York. So if application get affected, it automatically, if the data center in the London get affected, it won't have any impact on the application. uh, I can access it from India. So from this multiple region concept, the first challenge will be reduced, like slow access from users from other parts of the world is solved and partially solved. And the second challenge is something like, if one data center crashes, your application is still live from other data centers. And the very third challenge is something like, what if entire London is unavailable? Even though if London is completely unavailable, your application is served from Mumbai. So these are the most important concepts of reasons. So imagine setting up data center in different region around the world would be the easy. So if we set up the region across the world, the it ensure the users the low latency and high availability of the product. As we see here in the slide, by setting up the regions, by setting up your application in multiple regions, you have the high availability, low latency, global footprint, and other two government regulations, because for each country they will follow strict regulations and we adhere to it. So next comes the availability zone. So availability zone is something like having multiple data centers in the same region. Say for example, if we are in Mumbai, there will be 2 or 3 different availability zones, multiple availability zones in a region. And if one availability zone get affected, it won't have any impact on the other availability zone. And each availability zone has the independent and redundant power, networking, and connectivity. So even if they come across any natural disasters or anything else, it won't have any impact on the application which they are serving. So availability zone in a region is connected to a low latency links to deliver faster application support, or to deliver software in a fastest way. Increase availability and fault tolerance within the same region will help you to ensure, survey the failure of complete data center. Even if a data center failed completely, you can still run your application. But we have to remember one thing, that till now all Azure regions doesn't have availability zone. Only few regions have the availability zone. So next comes the Azure Virtual Machine. This is the most important topic which we going to discuss and have a hands-on lab. So in corporate data centers, applications are deployed to physical servers. So before, as I told in the beginning, before this cloud came into picture, we were deploy cloud application in our on-premise server. And it really make the enterprise to spend more money on setting up the data centers and servers. So to overcome this, uh, we started this cloud. And cloud is something like, as I saw a picture in the beginning, is rent virtual servers and virtual machines, virtual servers in Azure Virtual Machines to provision and manage virtual machines. It's completely like we are renting their servers and hosting the application, and we are renting their servers and using it. So the very next thing is Azure Virtual Machine futures. Create and manage life cycle of Azure Virtual Machine. So It is completely like how to create and manage the life cycle of virtual machines, how to load balance, auto scaling. We have various features like load balancing and auto scaling. In case if I have some high availability, say for example, I am running an e-commerce website, and in my e-commerce website from the beginning of January till March, the sales will be very less. So at a time, I don't need much number of resources. But meanwhile, if I have a huge number of sales in between the month of May to June, but so May to July, then the availability of the resources will automatically scale up. So this is one of the main feature of Azure Virtual Machine. It will help you to make your business running smoothly without any without any failures. And you can also attach storage as you expected. For example, if you're creating a virtual machine with a storage of 50 GB SSD, you can later point of time, if you need to add more data, or if you need to have more storage, you can add it to your virtual machine. And our goal is today is to set up a VM as a HTTP web server and distribute load balance and with load balancers. So as a part of it, let's create a few VM instance and play with them. Let's SS into VM and install the web server. So as I told you in the beginning of this slide, let's get server and dirty. So please, since you can see my screen in the chat.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, fine. So let me so as you see, this is the Azure Azure portal. From this we are going to create virtual machines today. So when you log into your Azure portal, you can see the Azure services, and below you can see navigation, like the things whichever we regularly use. And below you can also see useful links. If you start in Azure today, from here, I say it's the best place from where you can learn a lot by yourself. So let me click on the virtual machine. We can create virtual machine by either by clicking the creator resource, or directly clicking this virtual machine icon, or even you can type virtual machine and you can do it. So for this demo, I would like to go with the creator resource. And the first lab session, I'm going to show you how to create a Windows Server 2019. And the second lab is about how to create a Ubuntu machine. So let me start creating a Windows server. So for that, you have to click the create button. And once you click the create button, it automatically take you to the screen where you can see the basic information. You have to input the basic information. So here we have the basic informations like subscription, which subscription you have for your Azure account, associated with your Azure account. So for this, I am having Azure sponsorship, and in real time we have pay as you go, or some other subscription model. And next comes the resource group. Resource group is one of the mandatory field when you create in a virtual machine. So I can also see some questions coming up. Okay. So resource group is something like a container where you put all the resources whichever you needed to run this project. Say for example, if you're creating a virtual machine together with other things like web app, or AML project, so everything you can name under one resource group. So here I'm going to create a virtual machine, so I put it as a win VM and today's date 2022 RG. and let me click the OK button. So it will automatically created a new virtual, new resource group. After that, you have to input the virtual machine name, and here I put VM Win1. Let me name it as VM my VM Win. And next comes the region. Region is the place which we already discussed in the slide. So I'm choosing US East region, and here you can see availability zone. As it is a demo session and there is no need, it don't have any huge impact on the data, I will go with the new infrastructure and redundancy required. And after that, if you scroll down, you can see image is something like image is nothing about the operating system which you used to have with this VM. So in our case, I choose Windows Server to 2019. But if you click the see all images, you can see all the operating system, all the images you can use with this virtual machine. You can create a virtual machine. And for our demo, I have selected Windows Server 2019 data center. And when it comes down, here we can see the size. Size is nothing but the CPU and the memory, which we see. If we go in and buy a computer from a vendor or from an online e-commerce website, we will have multiple things in our mind, like this many hard disk I need, and this many the processor need to be like this, and the read-only memory need to be like 16 GB or 32 GB. So things like that you can choose from here. So for our lab session, I will go with the standard size B2S, which comes with 2V CPUs, virtual CPUs, and 4 gigabytes of memory. And next comes the username. So here the username, I put it like Azure user, and password. Once I done with the account settings, next comes the inbound rules. So in the inbound rules, you can see public inbound rules. If you choose only the if you enable only the public inbound rules, you can connect or you can take this VM from a internet. If I not select any of this public inbound ports, then it's really very difficult. Without setting up, it won't allow you to take the VM through internet. So for our demo, I will take RDP. I will select RDP and HTTP as we are setting up a server. And after that, let's move on to the next step called disk. So in disk, we have various OS disk type, in which one is premium SSD, standard SSD, and standard hard disk drive. Let's go with the premium SSD, and we will speak about this storage, disk types in the next coming slides. So for now, I choose premium SSD. And let me move on to the networking. In networking, we don't need any changes to be done because it's all by default. It looks fine. So as we already selected inbound ports in the basic tab. So let me move on to the next management area. In the management tab, you can see boot diagnostics. Let's keep it disabled. And when you scroll down, you can also see other options like login with Azure AD. It is like a role-based access control system. If you have a company, or if you run in a company, and if you give role, with that role, you can access this VM. Next comes the auto shutdown. Auto shutdown is something like in cloud, the most important thing is, if you are not utilizing the resource, you have to put it down. You have to stop the resource. It will increase the price. It will make you to pay more. It will make you to pay a lot for unused resources. So you can enable auto shutdown if you don't need it. And if you click the auto shutdown, automatically it will show you the time zone, in which time zone and at what time you need to shut down this machine. Also, it will send you a notification before shutting down the machine. So next comes the advanced tab. In advanced tab, we can install some extensions. Say for example, when I'm creating the virtual machine itself, I can install some extension. Here we have various number of extensions. Say for example, cloud workload production kind of um, yeah, kind of antivirus, things like that. So let me go back, and next comes the tags. And here the tags is the most important feature which we see in the virtual machine, Azure Virtual Machine. It helps us to have a ion spendings we do towards this virtual machine. So if I put a name like MS resource, and if I select uh, the resources, I can see how much I spent towards it. And next comes the review and create page. In review and create page, I can see how much I spend per hour. And it also, we can also change the price in other VMs in this page. Also here I would like to show you another page which is called pricing calculator. If you're really interested in doing something for a real time, or if you want to estimate how much cost you have to spend towards a resource, you can use this website. And here you can select the resources whichever you use. Say for example, if I am want to know how much I spend towards a virtual machine, if I click this virtual machine, it will automatically give me open up a page like this. And here I can choose like what is the reason I'm going to host this virtual machine, and what kind of operating system, everything, all the informations whichever required for creating a virtual machine, you can enter here. And you can also see a estimation of uh, estimation of this monthly cost estimation of this VM. It will be very helpful when it comes to an enterprise. When you looking for some when you're looking for some billing monthly, or if you're going to submit your management, then it will be very helpful for you. You can also export this into a CSV file. Here you can see it. Okay, yeah, here you can export it into a CSV file, and you can share it with your management for taking the strong decision. So let me click the create button, and it will take a minute time. You can also see in the notification bar about how much time it takes, what all the things are running. So it is something like spinning up the services whichever you selected, like networking, disk, um, and other features like OS operating system. So everything will be created within a fraction of minute, within a fraction of seconds. So you see, you can feel the power of the power of cloud. It is almost ready, and let me click this go to resources. But let me also show you something else. You can go and check the resources which are created by clicking this directly by clicking this go to resources button, or the other way, in the search box you can click the virtual machine. So when you click the virtual machine, there you can see your virtual machine name. And after you click in the virtual machine, you can see the overview page. In the overview page, you can see basic information about this virtual machine, like in which operating system it is running, what is the size what is the size you have selected, and yeah, a lot more about your virtual machine, the things whichever you uh, selected when you creating the virtual machine. And most importantly, it also give you a range of features and you can choose many things out of this options. Like you can add more disk, you can increase the size, scale in, scale out the size. So you can do many things with this additional settings. And now let's try to connect this VM. For that, I click this connect button, and after that I am selecting the RDP. It is remote desktop connection. So let me download a RDP file. And once I download a RDP file, I click the open file. If you click the open file, it will automatically pop up a window like remote desktop connection. The publisher of this remote can't be identified. You just click the connect button, and after clicking the connect button, enter the username and password which you mentioned in the creation of this Azure, creation of this VM. So I created a username Azure user and the password. Okay, so click yes. It is a certificate verification. So you can see the power of cloud. We can spin up a VM within fraction of seconds. So it's almost ready now. So now we have created the VM, I mean Windows Server machine. So the next step, let's try to install the IIS and host the website. So in this task, we're going to install the web server role on the server on the virtual machine we just created, and ensure the default IIS welcome page will be displayed. For this, I'm going to click the start button again and type CMD. Oh, sorry. I'm going to type PowerShell. And right click the PowerShell and run it as an administrator. Once it is ready, I'm going to input the command install Windows Future name web server include management tools. So when you pass this command and click the enter button, it will automatically install the Windows server. Just a minute, I think I made some mistake. And now it's collecting the data and starting the installation. And I would also like to show you something. So before creating the Windows server, if we try to open this, it will give you an error message telling that this page isn't working. So now it is installing. After installation, let's have a look. I think now it is visible for you. I even make the font size little smaller for a better visibility.
Yeah, now it's fine, Jerald.
Okay, so now let's try to execute let's try to open the window again and see. Again, I'm going to the overview screen, and in the overview screen, I'm just copying the public IP address and putting it again in the browser. And now you can see the welcome page of ISS server. So this is our first lab session. So let me invite Mayank to give a quick tour of Whizlabs.
Thanks, Jerald. Let me share my screen. Hello, everyone. My name is Maya. I am working as a senior cloud analyst at Whizlabs. I'm here to represent Whizlabs portal and its new features. As you all know, as some of you know about Whizlabs and some of you might be new to this webinar. So let me walk you through the website. So this is our platform. Whizlabs mainly provide practice tests, labs, and video lectures. So all you can see, these are the courses, AWS, Azure, and it contains DevOps courses also. Some are certification courses and some are skill based. Okay, so let me show you one of the course. Here it is, AC 900. This is the main product page screen. Here all the details are given, like what we are providing for AC 900. There are mainly three things: practice tests, online courses, and hands-on labs. So let me walk you through this. Through the labs. Previously, some of you might be knowing that Whizlabs Labs portal was something like this. This is our previous site. And recently, in the last month, we have created this new portal for labs. Here you can see the categorization based on certifications, courses, clouds, and level of certification like fundamental, intermediate, and all. So let me walk you through one of the labs. So there are two ways. One, you can access it from here, from the course page, then hands-on labs. You will see some of the labs which are only related to the AZ900. Okay, there are 14 which are only dedicated to AZ900. One of the lab is free, or you can access without the purchase also. So let me cancel this. This is our old portal. Yes. So this is the labs. I have selected Azure as category, and this is our first lab. Here it is given free. Okay, so this is the first lab, and you all or some of you might be aware about the credit points. Like each lab, whenever you practice, there the credit points are like around 1,000 credit points are given to every customer who's however purchase a practice test or online lectures. Whenever you practice a single lab, 10 credit points will be removed, like it will be decreased from your overall points. Okay, let me walk you through one of the labs. Let's take free lab. Yes. So this is the labs page. Here few details is given, like sign into Azure portal and all. You can submit the feedback. if you have any issue with the labs, like if you are not able to perform the lab, if you are having some error in between following the instructions and all, so you can submit it here. Let's start the lab, create virtual machine. Let's see what our labs will provide here. You all might be aware that whenever we practice on Azure portal or AWS or GCP, we have to pay some amount if we use their services. Like if we are using virtual machines, so there is a different price range and all. And while doing the login, they will ask you credit card details also if you are exceeding your limit for using the services. But Whizlabs doesn't need any of such things. It provides you username, password, and resource group with free of cost. Like Whizlab will see all these things. Customer don't have to focus on any of such things. Okay, let me open the console. Here it is given that whenever you start this lab section, go use the incognito mode, because there might be some catching issues, or you might have practiced 2-3 times a same lab, so there might be a problem of catching issues. So let me open it in incognito mode only. It will open the sign-in page, so you have to copy these things. You don't have to provide any of your personal details, you just have to copy these things: username, password, yes. Here it is given the resource group also, and it will be okay if you not provide this because it will already there. Let's see. Here it's given resource groups. This one, 29654 resource group. The same is here also. Then our this open console and login part is completed. Then you have to just follow these instructions. Like this topic is create a virtual machine. You just have to follow the instruction that navigate to virtual machine page. This is then create virtual machine. This thing only based on the instructions. Let's go there. Here it's given create Azure Virtual Machines. Everything like from starting of the configuration, you have to provide subscription, resource group, name, region, and all the things are given here as instructions. You just have to follow and practice. Okay, and suppose this is AC 900 and we have 14 labs. If we open other course of Azure, let's see AZ104. All the courses are easily accessible from here. Training library, you can check there. Here also hands-on labs are there. See, 2 labs are given for free. You can practice them without even purchasing anything. And there are around 27 labs. And basically, Whizlabs has created around 200 plus labs for AWS. Then this is given 52, but we have 60 plus labs for Azure, and it is still increasing, and same for GCP. Let me walk you through the labs part on the instructions. See, everything like configuration, resource name, subscription name, all you have to just mention by looking this screen instruction page. Okay, and you don't have to worry about the resource part. You just, if you have completed the lab or you are stuck in between or you don't want to continue, just have to sign out from here. This is one thing. This will like delete all your resources, and you don't have to check anything from your side whether it will cost you or anything like that. And the other part is, if you will end lab from here, then also all the resources will be deleted. So this is the feedback screen. Yes, that's it. Here you are asked about the sign out. You can cancel all these things. And once you create the lab, you can validate that sections also, like whether you have created all the things or not. Suppose you have created only the configuration. So it will tell you that you have created half of the labs. And if you do SSH also, if it's provided in the instructions, then it will be completed fully. You can see these credit points also. Yes. So that's it from my side. Thank you. Yes, Jerald, you can take it over.
Thanks, Mayank. Let me share in my screen again.
Yes.
So please confirm me when you can see my screen.
Yes, Jerald, it's visible.
Okay. Okay, so let me continue the most important key concepts while we create in the Azure VM. Make it as a slides. So when we create a Azure VM, we need to be we need to know about the key concepts. It's really very vital. So here are the main features we consider. The very first thing is image. So image is the one which we seen while creating the Windows Server 2019. It is the operating system which we use for the VM. So it is a mandatory field, and we need to uh, put it in place. And the next comes the VM family. VM family is something like when we are creating the virtual machine, we have various hardware families. Based on our purpose and based on our need, we can choose right one for us. So here comes the general purpose compute storage, memory, GPU, and HPU, high performance computing. So based on the need or based on the project which you assign, you have to choose the VM. Next comes the VM size. VM size is what we have discussed. Okay, before that, I will also show you how we can see it. When we create a new VM, here you can see sizes. So here you can see various sizes based on your recommendation. Here you can also see various series. If you're doing something like a test or development, then you can go with the minimum thing. And if you need it for a production environment, you can choose the size based on your requirement. So let me move on back to the slides. And the next thing comes disk. So it is similar to when you buy a laptop, you will select SSD or hard disk. If you select SSD, the performance will be high compared with the hard disk drive. And after buying the laptop also, you can increase the size of your storage, same like that. Here you can increase the size of your storage. So this is the most important key concepts of Azure Virtual Machine. And other most important topic when it comes to VM is the availability. in cloud, most of the companies move to cloud is because of the availability, because in on-premise they fail to achieve it. If some natural disasters or some issues occurs, it's really very difficult for them to keep their application or software up and running for all the time, 24/7. To overcome this, we establish cloud, and in cloud we ensure availability always up. So here you can see we have three different availabilities. The very first thing is like it is the percentage of time an application provides the operation expected of it. So if the availability is 95.95%, then per month it is the downtime should be just 22 minutes. It's okay, it's acceptable, but if you are using some online transaction kind of website, then it is not a good thing. So next we goes 99.99%. It means 4 minutes and 4.5 minutes downtime in a month, and most online apps aim for 99.99. And next comes, it's really very difficult achieving all nines. It is 99.9999%, which means the downtime will be very less, just 26 seconds. And achieving this 5 nines availability is really very tough. So now let's try to create okay, now let's try to create a Linux machine and try how it works. So again, I'm going to click the create resource, and in create resource, I'm clicking the create virtual machine, and from here I'm selecting the resource group. I'm just selecting the same resource group, and when it comes to the virtual machine, I'm going to name it as VM Linux, and here I'm going to select the no infrastructure required. And next comes the image. In image, instead of Windows, this time I'm going to select Ubuntu Server 2004, and size, let it be the same. And authentication method administrator account method, this time I'm going to choose public key instead of password. So for public key, I'm going to generate a new key pair, and in the key pair name, I'm going to put it as VM1. And next comes the public inbound port. Here I'm going to select it as HTTP and SSS enabled. So the difference between the Windows VM and Linux VM is, here in the administrator account, even I can go with the password, but to show you the difference, to give you the feel of using the public key, I have chosen SSS public key. So next comes the disk. Here I'm not going to make any changes. And next, networking. Here also it is going to be the same. I'm not going to make any changes. Management, it would be the same. I'm just going to disable the boot diagnostics. Next, advanced. In advanced, yeah, here I'm not going to install any additional applications. Let me click the create or review button, and in the create or review button, here you can see the price in it is 2.997. It means 2 rupees per hour. I mean 3 rupees, around 3 rupees per hour. Let me click the create button, and it takes, when you create a VM with keeper, it will tell you to generate, it will ask you either you want to generate a new keeper. And here I am going to click download private key and create resources. So the key will get downloaded here. And once I get into the deployment page, it automatically deploy each and every item one after the other. It takes a minute time. So sometimes you have to wait when it comes to cloud. Okay, now it is created. So let me click the go to resource page. Previously, we followed a GUI, graphical user interface, to start up the, to set up the server. And in this case, we're going to use the CLI command. So for this, it is same like in the previous Windows server. It is the same overview page where you can see the name of the uh, VM and public IP address, and what size you have used, what operating system you have selected. So all this information, also the status, either it is running or stopped or restarting, things like that. So in addition to this, now we're going to connect this via SSH. So if you click the SSH, it will give you the you can connect it directly from your laptop. For this example, for this demo, we're going to connect it with the CLI, command line interface. So in command line interface, we have two things. One is bash and the other one is PowerShell. And for this example, we're going to deal with bash. So when it comes to bash, the very first thing we have to do is we have to upload the key which we downloaded on the creation of VM. So for this, I click this upload button, and here I select the key. It is vm1.pem. So it is completed. Let me try to see it is in my drive. Yeah, it is available. So after that, I'm just going to put this command. Going to paste this command, and instead of Azure user, I'm going to rename it as vm1.pem. It ensures that you have read only access to the private key. And after that, I'm just copying this command, paste it here, and in the place of private key, I'm going to put it as vm1.pem. And hit the enter button. It asks, are you sure want to continue? Yes, I say yes, and enter button. So now you can see that it is connected with my Linux machine. To ensure either it is connected, now I'm going to pass the command who am I, and it says my username. And let me try to put host name. So it will give me the address, IP address of my VM. Even you can also try to check software like, okay, let's try to check Python version. So I type Python 3 space version and hit enter button. It says 3.8.10 is installed in the VM. So the first step we have completed. Let's move on to the next step. So now we're going to install Nginx server in this VM. So for that, first we need to update this thing. So apt and -get -y update. So it takes a little time. Now let's try to pass the command. So the update is successful. Meanwhile, let's also try to check with this IP address from the overview screen. So in the overview screen, I'm just copying the public IP address and put it in the new window. So here you can see that the server is yet to set up. It is not up and running. Let me go back to the screen once again. And now I pass the command. So now it is installing. Yeah, now it is installed. It will take a little time to get it refreshed. So let me refresh this portal. And copy this address once again. And now you can see that the server is set up, and you can see the welcome message, welcome to NGEX, and it is up and running. So we have covered creating a virtual machine for Windows server as well as for the Linux server. The most important thing in cloud is once you're done with the, if you're doing it for your practice sessions, ensure that you have delete all the resources once you complete it. So I'm also going to show how to do it. Here we have done with setting up the Windows server as well as the Linux server. Now I'm going to kill this session. For that, I'm going to click the resource group. So when I click the resource group, under resource group, I can see all the resources which were assigned towards this. So here I click the delete resource group, and here it will ask you type the group name. And here our resource name group is the first, for the first resource name, it is Windows VM 2020 RG. And once you put and click the delete button, it will take a minute time. And meanwhile, let's go and check it in the resource page. Here currently we have three resources in this WinVM 2020 RG is the resource which we created for this lab session, and currently it is deleting. It takes a minute time. Meanwhile, I just answer for the questions which are coming in the Q&A thing. It is almost already answered. Does an RTP file works on Mac or Linux? Yes, it will work. For Mac, you need to download an application, remote desktop. It's kind of an app. So if you download it, it will work. Same like for Linux. So ISS is a web server. Yeah, it is also answered. Export the created VM on-premise to the cloud. Yeah, it is also possible. I think it takes much time than we expected. So this is how we have to create and delete a resource in the Azure environment. I hope it's all clear. So let me move on back to the slide. So we have came to the end of the session. So let's have some Q&A. Snega, shall we begin it?
Sure. Yes, Jerald. Have we ensured that all the questions by the attendees have been answered? I can see some questions are still unanswered.
Let me check it. I can export the created VM. Okay, ISS, it is answered. I know Linux shell scripting, it is mandatory to Windows PowerShell, not mandatory.
Have we answered all the questions?
Yeah, it's already answered.
Okay, great.
Nega.
Yeah. Jerald, can you go to the next slide, please?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would like to tell our attendees that we have a very exciting quiz for all of you, and there will be 5 questions, multiple choice questions, and for each question we will have one winner. So whoever answers the question correctly in the first attempt and who is the first one to answer will be the winner for that particular question. So before starting with the quiz, let's look at some rules. So how you have to answer this question is in the Q&A section, not in the chat box. Please use the Q&A section to answer your questions, and you need to follow a particular format. For example, if the answer to question 1 is option A, for example, you need to type 1A in the Q&A section so that we know which question you are answering for. Okay. So I hope the rules are clear to all of you. Can I have a yes or no in the chat? Okay, great. So Jerald, can you go to the next slide, please? Yes, so these are the rewards that the winners will be getting. Every winner, since there are going to be 5 winners, every winner will have the choice to select a video course or a practice test of their choice from the Whizlabs training library. So if you have visited Whizlabs, if you have seen our training library, you must know that we have a plethora of courses or training resources from all the vendors. We have courses on AWS, on Azure certifications, as well as GCP. And we also have cloud security courses. So any course of your choice you can get as your reward. So this is for the top 5 winners. Apart from that, if you are interested in getting any other course, if you're preparing for any certification, so we have some great discount codes for all of you. Those are there on your screens, and we will email you as well. So maybe you can take a screenshot right now if you need to purchase it today itself. So you'll get 40% off on our individual courses or practice tests. Or if you are interested in our premium subscription, then you can have a 30% off using the codes that are mentioned on your screen. So I wish you all the best for the quiz, and make sure you are answering in the Q&A section. Okay, all the best. Jerald, you can take the quiz now.
Yeah, I have started it. So let's begin with, the questions are really very simple. So I encourage everyone to answer it. Also, Snega, please walk me through this Q&A session. When you tell, I will change the slides.
Neha, you are on mute, Sneha.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize. So the first question is, in an IaaS environment, the cloud tenant is responsible for routine hardware maintenance. Is it true or false? Please answer in the Q&A section. We'll have 20 more seconds for this question. Shall we move to the next question?
Yes, let's move on to next question.
Okay. Which of the following choices isn't a cloud computing category? Platform as a service, networking as a service, infrastructure as a service, or software as a service? You have to choose one option out of it. Some of you are answering in the chat box. Please use the Q&A section. Don't answer in the chat box. Which of the following choices isn't a cloud computing category? We'll have 10 more seconds for this. Okay, Jerald, let's move to the next question. Which of the following options isn't a type of cloud computing? So there are 4 options: hybrid cloud, private cloud, public cloud, or distributed cloud. Which of the following options isn't a type of cloud computing? I think we are getting good number of answers. It's type of fastest finger first kind of quiz, so make sure you're answering as soon as possible. You have 2 more chances to win a prize. Okay, let's move to the 4th question. Will you be billed if you stop a VM? Yes or no? Will you be billed if you stop a virtual machine? What should be the right answer here? Yes or no? This one should be simple, so let's see. Okay, shall we move to the next question? The last from today's quiz. Okay, last question. Which cloud model provides the most flexibility? Select the correct option. There are 4 options. First, public, second, private, third, hybrid, or is it fourth, all provide the same level of flexibility? You need to select one option. Which cloud model provides the most flexibility? Okay, 10 more seconds for this question. We tried to keep the questions simple this time so that more people can participate and have a chance at winning the rewards. All right, now it's time to reveal the answers. Jerald, would you go to question 1 and start revealing the answers for each question, please?
Okay, so the first thing is in IaaS environment, the cloud tenant is responsible for routine hardware maintenance. It's not true. It's not a tenant. It's the cloud responsible. As we see, IaaS is everything will be hardware will be maintained by the cloud provider like Azure and GCP. So here the answer is false. And next, second thing is, which of the following platform choices isn't the cloud computing category? As we saw in our beginning of the slides, the cloud computing model have 3 types like PaaS, IaaS, and SaaS. So network as a service is wrong. So the answer for this question is 2, I mean network as a service. And the third question, which of the following option isn't a type of cloud computing? Here we have hybrid cloud, public cloud, and private cloud, but there is no term called distributed cloud. So for the third question, the answer is distributed cloud. And when it comes to fourth, will you be built if you stop a VM? Yes, because in some cases the VM will be stopped, but allocated storage will have some will go for, I mean, will be calculated for billing. So it is yes. And the last one, which cloud model provides the most flexibility? As we discussed in the slides, we have public. If you go with public, you can utilize all the public services, and if you go with private, you only use the private services. But when it is hybrid model, you can have the features of both the environments, public and private. So here the correct answer is 3. So I hope most of the people have answered it correctly.
Yes.
Let's see.
So we'll announce the rewards, announce the winners on our social media channels within the next 24 hours. So make sure you're following us on LinkedIn or Twitter, Facebook or Instagram, whichever platform you are comfortable with. So we'll be announcing the winners and the rewards there itself. And yeah, so if you want to be a part of our webinar selfie, which we'll be clicking right now, make sure you are raising your hand. We'll promote you to attendee. I mean, we'll promote you to panelists so that you can switch on your camera and we can have a quick picture with all of you. You can use the raise hand feature and we'll promote you to panelist. I think some of our attendees are a little shy of the camera. That's okay. Hi, Richard. Okay. Mayank, Sunil, and Richard, can you switch on your camera, please? So we'll end the session after this picture. Hi, Richard. So nice to see you. Okay, before we click the picture, is anyone else interested? Okay. So I'll be clicking, I'll be taking the screenshot now. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll see you in the next session, which will be in the next week. So make sure you are attending that as well. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.